Ah, there he is. Well, we have to see you now. We have to see you.
We have
What do you
contact.
mean?
We have contact.
Okay, awesome. So there was there's a question here. Even to be honest, I don't. I think you were answering something about online marketing.
Oh, Sierra Leone, yeah. So I was telling the person that you need to understand the behavior of the people, so you now know who to target them. That these are the people you're talking to.
Okay.
Things like even sponsored posts and promotion posts on Instagram works a lot. Hi Tito, they work a lot. So those kind of things are important to you. But you need to understand, because people think that social media marketing is independent of real life. No, it is a channel to get to real life. Okay, it's an interface. So it's an interface. So you have to understand that it's important that you know the way the people behave. Once you know how they behave, you now know how to target them.
Okay. So the next question now is, honestly, I don't know even if you can even answer this question, but we'll see. Good evening. How do you source for a well-skilled staff? Do you train them yourself, or you go for already? Do you train them yourself, or you go for already-made staff? Because I believe managing already-made staff in fashion is something else. Please, how do you go about it? And please, what advice would you give to upcoming designers to help them achieve their dreams based on their experience?
Maya, what's up? Yeah, I'm hailing my people that are coming up. Okay. In terms of tailors, okay, let me first make you all happy. I still have tailor issues till tomorrow. Okay. They choose when to come to work, how to behave, how not to behave. It's the fear of God that makes them work. And if there could be a button I can press to take production away, where I can just say, this is what I want, and they bring it to me at the end of the week, I will do that. I don't need that stress right now in my life. Do you get what I mean? But in the meantime, what I've done for my business is that I have. Hi, Nena, how you doing? What I've done for my business is that I have structured it in such a way that I'm doing, which is pretty much standard, like a production line, whereby one person, takes measurement and does the pattern,
so
cuts the fabric, breakdown process. Somebody else does fusing and does pockets. Somebody else does lapel and does the body. Then somebody does the shoulder, the collar, and the sleeves. Someone else prepares the sleeves. Someone joins the. So I have a process, and I think. And so I'm going to tell me I should write down my process. Now I can't write down my process because you need to understand how the garment is made to be able to break down the process. The way it suits you.
So let me just try and move
battery died.
No, it's not going to die. Don't worry. I'm trying to move closer to my charger. So
okay.
Yeah.
Iris.
No, but you can keep asking.
Hi, Stephanie. Yes. So I can answer the question. So you need to understand exactly how that garment is made for you to know how to break it down to a way that works. And sometimes you can break it down to one way and realize that it's not working. You have to rejig it. Okay. Dr. Ehi, salute. So you have to rejig it.
I'm still just trying to get something.
Yeah, so how to rejig it to how to make it work for you. Now I'm investing in people that have a good knowledge of fashion and are are good in making patterns and stuff, and they also understand my business. Okay, so going forward, someone takes the measure, does the pattern for every single thing. So it works differently for the different things in my business. You know, in my business, so we have patterns for trousers. Somebody cuts the trouser, then 3 guys stitch the trouser. Not one person cuts and stitches the trouser. Okay. The bridal where all our corsetry on the inside, it's outsourced and made. So when people come and we're making all outsourced.
Oh, nice.
I'm not bothering myself with the expertise and all that nonsense. So when you come and take your measurement, you look for the nearest corset that fits you, we build on top of that corset and build the wedding gown on top of it. So I've broken down my business to a place that in the way that it works for me. I'm even trying to break it down even further. You know, right now I'm trying to make custom patterns for my ready-to-wear suits. And going forward, I want to even outsource the pattern making for the suits to someone independent. So I take the measurement, send it off, they send the pattern back to me, I just cut. So that way I cut off a few things. Going forward, even me, I want to be able to start doing what you call that thing. I think there's a whole measurement pattern now done by, is it Bluetooth or infrared, where you stand into something and you stand and it takes all your
Yeah, the
body
scan. Yeah.
measurements.
Mm-hmm.
Scan. I want to get to that thing too. Do you understand? So I can move. A lot of these things have to even make business even move faster.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So I know there's an app that can even use to take your measurement, but the app was developed by a fashion person, so you can only use it to order suits from them. So that's quite smart.
But
So
there's so many apps out there, though. So
yeah, so I mean, so that's what I try to do, is try to do a structure. So when they come, even though the guy can make a suit from start to end, I only put him in one part of my breakdown.
let me add
That
to
way,
that.
he becomes better in that part of the breakdown, right? He becomes better and faster in that specific area. And if somebody that is actually doing the part before him or after him doesn't show up, he can do those parts. But I put him in one part. So for me to have a total breakdown, all of them have to run away or misbehave.
Yeah.
So that's the way I've now worked locally, as I said, local sense, with even trying to
But
make
that's how it
things work.
is everywhere, though. That's how it is everywhere. Because really, people who always, tailor issues will always happen. It's like, I don't think any company, no matter how big it is, has a full handle on human resources. Because really, even people leave Facebook, people leave Google, people leave, so it's not for the industry. You need to have, people who run businesses, you need to break down the process. If my tailor leaves tomorrow, I will just call somebody else to come and finish it off.
Do
Because
that
they are
part,
not the ones doing the patterns. My people know. Those who I give patterns to, they know. I'm sure some of them are watching this. I outsource the pattern making. And what another thing is, a lot of you just want, because you're trying so hard to save money, you spend 24 hours doing a pattern. 24 hours you could be spending doing something else because you don't want to spend 5K or 10K or 20K for a pattern. Time, apart from brain, is an asset. Yes, you might have less in your pocket, but it would help you. You can. There's something called opportunity cost, and that's one thing you can never put a price on. Opportunity cost. You could spend that time doing something else. So that's the easiest way to have structure in your business. Let me move on to. Man, there are plenty questions of mine. Plenty. I shall we'll do this some other day. You are frozen.
A call just came through. Can you imagine? What people?
Okay, so well, I don't know. This one, the second one by Theron Couture has also been answered in the last question. So I want to go into fashion. I am more. I don't know you. I am Ore Babs. Please, this question. Let me just ask it so that you won't feel bad that I did not ask, because I think it's a bit the answer is a bit obvious. It says, "Good evening. I want to go into fashion. Like, that's my sole aim. There's no rush, actually. Do you think I should get a training on this, the business and the sewing aspect? How long should I train for? What will I get from these trainings? I don't. Honestly, I'm just asking because I feel you will feel bad if I don't ask. Because
you should get training in the business and in the, what do you call the other part?
In the skill.
What do you call the other part? You should get business in the business side of things and its technical side of things. Okay.
Yes, because in
and how long it would take? It will take as long as you know it. Okay.
And beyond that, because you have to keep learning.
What happened to you? Are you still there?
I'm
okay.
Here.
You disappeared for a second.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Because it went black on your side for a second. Okay.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you should get training. You should get training in whatever area. I do not know how much it costs. It does cost a lot of money. And let me tell you something. This is really interesting. Yeah? A lot of people have started, the fashion story that you hear a lot is that, oh, I was sitting in my room, I made something, people liked the thing, so I started making it and stuff. Some of those people that have become really big designers, what you didn't know about them is what they did in between to ramp up their technical capability in fashion. So you hold on to the fairy tale story of them making clothes in law school. Now they are Tiffany Amber. But you do not know what she did in between. Okay? So it's very important that you know what they did in between. There was a time a few years ago, I was having a conversation with Lisa Folabiyo, and she said, Mike, I have to go and start taking pattern making classes. Do you understand? This was like from 3-4 years ago. At that
Someone is frozen. I can still see. I don't know if you're still frozen. Can you hear me? Can people hear me? Or am I black? It says I'm live. Can you? I don't know. I lost you there for a bit.
It is a call. That call came through. I had to just take the call and just tell the person not to call again. It's ridiculous. And again, it's one of my tailors. It's one of my tailors. It's not even. It's one of my tailors that's calling and disturbing me like this. Like I owe him something. So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you need to actually learn. A lot of people that are working behind the scenes have built up a lot of capacity. Back, I can tell you publicly that I brought in a master tailor from Savvy Row 2 times, and I went to Milan to go and study once. But above all these things and the internet, we're like this. Do you understand? We are bodies. I ask questions. I'm sure the one that will go and buy a garment just to rip it apart and see the construction. All that kind of stuff. So you need to always learn. I mean, a lot of things are on the internet, and if you have time, go to a fashion school. Go to a fashion school, because trust me, the amount you would pay. Go to Martwayne. The amount you would pay when you're an established business.
I know you people like, come and tell them how amazing Martwayne is.
Give testimony. So when you are established and you have to do this, it costs you more money. It takes more of your time. Now you have 5 customers, you have 10 customers, you have 20. You can shut down and step your game up, then come back. But when you already have 300 customers, how do you want to stop that process? And for you to get somebody in, it will cost you a lot of money. So the beginning is the best. I didn't do that, and that's one of the first things that I regretted. This woman that I'm speaking with to you, right? She stopped her job in KPMG, went to South Africa for 3 years to go and study fashion. 3 years before she came back and started doing what she's doing.
So
she's not a mental person now.
Yes,
do you get what I mean?
remember you saw me in my first year now. I remember when you came to SA then.
Yes, now. I remember clearly. I remember our conversation. I asked you what you're going to do, how you're going to do what you're going to do, and everything. 3 years. Now that 3 years that come and gone, it just feels like I'm very sure the distance of the 3 years is so far away now with what you're doing.
So it's like I think I came back 10 years ago, or was it 2010, 2009? Yeah.
I remember asking you what you're studying in school, like the history of fashion. I'm like, they're taking the history of fashion from 1722, this and that. I'm like, hey, Jesus Christ. But you see, you need to learn all these things. Some of these things I'm not even knowledgeable in those areas. Do you understand? So I won't even try to brag in those areas. So I do what I can do, but perfect the area that I am in as much as possible. It is not winging it. This thing is not winging. If you wing it, it will catch you. Right? Nigeria is a country that there's hunger in this country. You look good on the red carpet. You look good in the cover of the magazine. Real life, when you are back at home at night, that is the real you. I tell people, if you cannot Instagram your house and cannot Instagram your bedroom because you don't like the way it looks, that is the real you.
Yeah.
So you need to fix that. To be honest, you need to fix that. Lillian, my network's still bad. I heard someone saying network. Well,
I can hear you clearly, so I don't know whose network is.
I can hear you. It's never between us. It's always between the other people. So, guys, if you can hear me, just put a thumbs up or say yes, you can hear me loud and clear, so we know. Okay. Maureen, how are you? Yeah, go on, Tape.
Okay, so I have another question. Haven't done business for a long time without a lot of work experience. How easy is it to get a 9-to-5 job? Do you need any extra during your interview?
I didn't get that.
I haven't done business for a long time. The Novo Plumter, I really don't know. Is it business in fashion, or she says I haven't done business for a long time without a lot of work experience. How easy is it to get a 9-to-5 job? A 9-to-5 job.
Oh, I get it. I get what the person. Maybe they're tired of fashion. They want to go into proper 9-to-5, and they don't have skill set for like a proper job because they've only done their own business. Truth be said is that, see, when you run your own business, you learn so much, but you cannot articulate it, which is a problem. So there's my current manager who's leaving me soon. We used to have this conversation. And she said she wants to actually build herself. I'm like, build yourself to what? You're like an operations director in my business, but I'm a one-man business, so you see me finish, and I get that. I'm like, what's the difference between you and a hotel manager in a co-hotel? I'm like, what do? They ensure people get rooms, and you ensure the clothes are done to specification and delivered to the customer. You ensure the customer is happy and comfortable when it comes to the business. You answer all the calls and all the complaints and all the issues. You are that person. But now you say you do not have hospitality experience. Do you understand? But you can prove to them that, listen, I did this. We had a customer base of 300. I attended to like 50 people every single day that walk in and out of the studio, blah, 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 blah. You are just selling yourself as someone who like, this person can do this job. It doesn't have to be another fashion job.
True.
You know, so that's what a lot of people get wrong. So like me right now, I'm looking for a business development manager for my fashion label. Their job literally is to bring money in. You are going to be in charge of retail. This is the product. How do you want to sell it? Where will you sell it? I want to know how your plans will be to do all that. If you can crack it, I'll hire you. I don't want design. We are selling products.
Show me the money.
I want to sell products. So how would you sell products? So somebody that actually knows figures, had targets before, know how to get customers and go would be ideal for that kind of thing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, and that's the way my whole thought process is changing when it comes to actually doing these things at the end of the day. Yeah. Any other questions?
There are plenty. I haven't even got to Martwayne handle. I'm still on your handle. Participating in a fashion show as an upcoming designer with little capital, what will be the outcome of those clothes if not sold during the show?
And you keep it in your wardrobe now, Nina.
Be more practical now.
No, the funny thing, he has said something. You are upcoming, you did fashion show, you produced garments, right? Did you ask yourself, why did you have to do the fashion show in the first place? Because fashion shows are not to sell the clothes you made for the fashion shows. Those are your samples, so they remain with you. So when somebody comes and says, I want that piece, you can show them that this is the piece. So if you think that people actually go to fashion shows to sell the things you put on the runway, the exact pieces that were on the runway, then dude, that's wrong. So those pieces are not supposed to be sold, because at the end of the day, the person that sees it at the fashion show may be a size 8 and maybe a size 14, and what was on the runway was size 8. So what are you going to do? You have to make it for the size 14 person. So fashion shows, and let's get this thing right. You have to understand why people do fashion shows internationally and locally. And I think this causes a lot of issues with fashion weeks and stuff. International is the way for you to do a show where you probably have buyers come in and they say, I like look 13 and look 14. I want 100 pieces of it. They bulk pay you in front, you produce it, deliver, they pay you your balance. Right? You do these things for buyers. But now fashion designers now have their own situation whereby there are different branches in the world come for the fashion show and they pick the one they know that we sell in their different countries. So I am in Japan and I work for Atafo and just did a fashion show in Lagos. I would say, okay, we need that one. This is what we sell in Japan. And I will skew what I'm doing for the Japanese market. Okay, that is even within the brand. You can decide to make all available online, but in the stores, you will say, okay, I will push these ones first, then this is secondary, you know, and you will do what you have to do. So fashion shows, and locally in Nigeria, for me, fashion show is just for buzz and advertising. It's not for anything else. Just for people to know that, that is me. The guy is still doing fashion. Those are his, because this thing, when fashion shows happen, the number of eyeballs on your pieces are more than the number of eyeballs you get on your pieces on a good day. So for me, it's pretty much just advertising at the end of the day. Right? So, guy, those clothes are not for you to sell. Maybe at the end of the day, you do a sample sale and you sell them off.
This is related to the previous question. It says, I want to dive into ready to wear. How do I start and what should I check or put in place first? I'm scared of starting. Then
if you are scared of starting ready to wear, please go and research David Wej, see what he does and how he does what he does. If you are done with David Wej, go and research Maju, shop Maju, see what she does and figure out how she does what she does. Very important. Then On the other hand, go and check things like Grey Velvet, even though it's a concession store, you will now understand retail is done in Nigeria to a large extent. You need to study people. You can't just be, I call it inquisitive learning. When you are curious, put into Google, how do I start a ready-to-wear business, and press enter. It's miraculous. You'll be shocked what you see. Whatever question you have, people underestimate this thing.
Do you know how many times
Just type that thing in and you will see results for everything that you want. Everything.
My tripod just fell. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Let's be checking the time now before we finish this thing.
Yes, so somebody said the one. Okay, I'm going. Unfortunately, I have to scroll past. How do you calculate salaries from? Okay, actually, there's somebody else. Sorry, I'm having to jump questions. If I feel we've answered it before, I'll just jump it. How do you calculate salaries from revenue? How do you arrive at a particular amount to pay staff?
You do not calculate salaries from revenue. Salaries, not calculate salaries from revenue. Salaries are a cost of production. Okay, so that's your cost of production. That's where salaries fits into. Okay, so revenue is as a result of profit and everything and what you get back. And how do you calculate what the person? I always do a research and find out what people earn from making trousers and how much they earn from making shirts and how much they earn from making jacket from the open market. Okay, and if you want to offer people more than what they are earning, okay, because they are working for you, then you do that. But otherwise, that's where I calculate it. So I say if the going rate is 4K for a top, I will pay you 4K 5, or I'll pay you 5K. But you produce one for me a day, in 6 days, and this is the quantity you get. And sometimes I actually calculate that into like salaries. So I know. I prefer to pay salaries and I track it.
Okay,
my own phone is now 15%. I prefer to pay salaries, but they have
more questions. Okay. So
my phone is temperamental. Yeah.
I'm going to my handle. I'm trying to see the questions so that I can ask them as well, so my people don't think I left them out, because I told them to ask as well. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. I'm going.
Please scroll while I'm trying to balance my phone and charge the phone, because my phone is temperamental. If anybody wants to buy me a new phone, please. I mean Samsung S20.
Okay, so JD85 Magic says, how do we get our brand out there for the world to see? What is your biggest avenue of advertising for your brand? I think you mentioned
Instagram.
Yeah.
I said Instagram.
Okay.
Because the whole world is on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on that because you've answered that before. It says, how can I as a fashion designer position myself, or what can I do to receive mentorship from a top designer or veteran in my industry? Then at what stage is mentorship necessary in the fashion business? That's the second question. Then the third question is, what are the things to do or certification to have or networks to belong to in order to position my brand for the international market?
Jesus.
That's from Oluwayeka.
Mentorship is something you need all through your life, because it always comes in doses that you never expect will come. I also think that you yourself, you should try to look for someone that is a mentor. It doesn't mean you have to talk to them on the phone or even know who they are. You have to just go and research and find out exactly what they have done. It's good for you to come up to things like this and listen and take notes and write them down so you can action the things that are being said. So tomorrow, if you meet me in public and you want to ask me a question, you're not asking me how do I start my business. You are telling me, sir, is there a place I can get patterns for suit making? I'm interested in this part of suit making. What difference is between this and that? I'll be so excited to answer those kind of questions, because it's not like you're just trying to use me for research in the first place. You have actually done your homework. Okay? So people that I respect a lot and I want to be like them, many of them I've never seen in my life. I just read about them. When I hear there's an interview with Tom Ford, I go and listen to the interview. There's a film, I will watch his movie. Even if I don't learn anything, I will just go and watch the movie. Any things that all these interviews I know, I have seen them. Because I want to hear what he's saying, and that's how you get mentorship. People want people to hold their hands, and you can blame them when something is wrong.
Wait,
That's not a mentor.
before you continue, Grandeur Taylor says he's going to get you a phone. Please, let's not let that slide by. He says he's going to get
Grandeur Taylor, I know you. You sent me a DM. I know you. S20. Samsung S20.
Let me see. What do I want?
That's all I know. S20. You see, let me go and get my charger before my phone dies. Grandeur Taylor, thank you very much. I know your handle and I know who you are.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what do I want to? Okay, so if you have other questions while he's trying to get his charger, please just put them on his, under his handle, Atafo Official, so that I can read through and go. So in terms of the
I'm back. Sorry, I missed that. I ran away.
Yeah. We're saying something about mentorship, and
yes.
that said as well, it's quite interesting that sometimes, I mean, I get this request as well, and I keep telling people this mentorship thing you're asking for. Ask me specific questions. If you ask me a specific question, I can answer you. But when you ask me something like, how do I start off? I just completely get confused because I'm like, where do I even begin? Because I don't know what you want to do as a designer. I don't know what area you want to play in. I don't even know if you really do want to be a designer. You might want to be a stylist, but you think, everything.
You might want to be a celebrity, actually.
Do you get, so I think what you said is important. You need to research. Do your research. Do your homework. Don't wait for somebody else to do the homework for you. Do your homework.
And that's why I get a lot. A lot of people want you to do the homework for you. Then when they get it wrong, they want to blame you for what they got wrong and say, oh, you told me to do it. That's what a lot of people want. And I think that's wrong on every level. Do you understand?
I want S20. Since second person are sending you S20, people now share the love. I need an S20.
I will send S20 to you. Wait at your gates tomorrow. I know Nena is just clown. Nena, please delete your comment. Delete your comments.
Okay, so the second one is what are the things to do or certification to have or networks to belong to in order to position my brand for the international market? So do you know associations? I think British Council is a good one.
British, I'm not in any association. I'm not in Fadan, I'm not in any association at all. I think that it's not about you using that as a network. Think about platforms you can be part of to expose your business. So if you want to be part of, say, Lagos Fashion Week, you go into what do you call that thing, Fashion Focus. And from there, you get to showcase in Lagos Fashion Week. If it's Arise Fashion Week, you apply for Arise Fashion Week where it's required to be part of it. But I don't think there's any platform that gives you connection to people. I don't know of it. If anybody knows of any platform that opens you up to a bigger skill set or market or anything, please drop it in the comments so we can see. But I'm not aware of anyone like that.
Okay, so there's another question from Fenzi Graham. He says, how did you manage to build up a sustainable fashion brand during the past 10 years? What were your biggest challenges or fear when you were still trying to find a place for your brand in the fashion industry? And what are your biggest motivations that has kept you going during the past 10 years in fashion?
Wow. Let's take it one by one. You said what?
Okay, so the first one is, how did you manage to build up a sustainable brand during the past 10 years?
Okay, sustainable brand during the last 10 years. So I don't know, a lot of people think that there's a recipe that you cooked down and you just go to it every year and say, oh, I achieved and click and tick. But it's not so for me. One of the biggest things I try to do is called innovation. So at every point in time, I like to do something that I feel like is a bit fresh and not in the market and use that to either reintroduce my brand or sustain whatever actually momentum I already have on ground. Okay, so that works for me a lot. So it's innovation. Then again, like I said, fashion shows also make you very relevant. So you're doing the fashion shows, people are seeing your brand. For those people that actually watch fashion shows, they know your brand. When they're doing fashion week, even if they do not know your brand, then they now know your brand. So you get some kind of buzz from the fashion week. Then also your partnerships that you do. If I have a partnership with Ebuka or I have one with Ikeo Sakudua for whatever show it is, I give my 110% because that's also part of my awareness channel or advertising channel. So I take those ones very, very, very seriously. Big Brother, I take that really seriously when those kind of things come. So that drives my awareness. for me. And I think that's how I've sustained over the years.
So what were your biggest challenges of fear when you were still trying to find a place for your brand in the fashion industry?
Biggest challenges of fear is like, how long will this thing last? Is it going to be a flash in the pan? Will people not move away from me tomorrow when they see a cheaper brand to buy? How can I keep my tailors? Again, like I keep telling people, sometimes there's a lot of money in fashion, but sometimes there's no money in fashion. Do you understand? So how do you maintain when the money is not coming in? And things like that. So over time, I always reassess myself and my brand and look for a good way to reposition myself and my brand. So what you see happen to Atafo and Mai Atafo was a reassessment and a repositioning to be able to like push us to again for the next almost 10 years. And that's what we have done. So it's just kind of things you have to do. And the way you even communicate your clothing, we like to do suits for wedding, but there's suit for work too. And no one has said I do the best work suits in Nigeria, and push it in the kind of price that they want and the kind of styles that they want for that. People now do want to push separates. A lot of people don't wear separates in Nigeria. They want to push separates as a mode of wearing for people at an affordable price. So you have to think of those things and see how you push them and check against your bottom line. I, for one, I can tell you that 60% of my business come from 50% of my business come from kaftan, 30% come from suits, and the balance 20 from bridal. That's in terms of volume. But in terms of value, all those things change. But I know those things, and I'm ready to stay within that set to push even more. So you have to know those things, to be honest.
Okay, so and then lastly, what are your biggest motivations that kept you going during the past 10 years in fashion?
I love what I do. I truly love fashion, and that's why I keep doing fashion. Like I told you, I'm doing marketing. I love marketing. So things that I love to do, is easy for me to swing into those things and do them. So I really do love fashion. I don't think I even do fashion as much as I love it. And I intend to do that post-COVID. COVID has given us a reason not to procrastinate. So I'm going to do a lot post-COVID for brand and for self.
Okay, I think
we finish those questions.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I think more of them are coming in. It says participation in a fashion show. Okay, no, I think I've answered that one. Yeah, I've answered all the comments in the comment section. There are some questions on the screen, but I can't even remember half of them. So I don't know. When do you have anything else to say?
If we can take the questions on the screen as we go on, that won't be bad. Just okay. Yeah. So
okay,
as those ones pop up,
I think we have about how many minutes more do we have? It's 21:46 now. So I'm thinking maybe till 10, or I don't know. You're the man of the moment, so tell me.
No, you're at home. So when that comes to carry you away. But I think after once we conclude this hour, we should be done.
Okay. So it says, as an upcoming fashion brand, how do you get, I think we've answered this one before. How do you get an influencer or celebrity to wear your brand so you'll be out there? We've answered this one before.
Yeah.
Nana's Organics. What did you ask? I don't know what you asked. What did you ask?
I still have one question unanswered. What's the question? What is the most essential skill
set needed for a bridal designer?
Oh, I would say.
Give me a second. Let me check through the comment section. Is it the
I would say corsetry. I'll say corsetry for a bridal designer, because once you can shape that top bust nicely, it's good. Then also what we call decoration, your hand stitching, your beading, and all that's very, very important. That's what I think you need. Uncle Mai, I'm super low on data. I have learned so much from you. Oh, thank you very much.
I can't find Nana stitches. I don't know.
Shades of IK. Yes, I can't see your question. Shades of IK. As an upcoming fashion brand, how do you get influencers, celebrities to wear your brand? Please don't go and chase influencers and celebrities to wear your brand. If I can, I can tell you, let them come to you. So make your things as amazing as possible. Put it on social media. I will tell you, there are many celebrities that don't want to pay for clothes, so they're ready to wear it for free. Many of them. I'll tell you a good story. If you look at maybe like AMBC or some awards like a good 6 years ago, 7 years ago, you see a lot of people wearing my stuff to the red carpet. If you looked at last year, I think it was only like 4 people that wore my stuff. because before people paid.
Mm.
But 7 years ago, I can swear maybe none of them paid.
Hmm.
Do you understand? So celebrities have to keep up with the Joneses, and some of them do not have the money to do that because that craft may not be giving them as much money as they want. But if they have a lot of influence, that influence is actually money for you. So if you partner with them, the right place at the right time, it will make you blow. And that's why I said about Ogomoni at that point in time. Okay.
Mm.
Nana Organics.
Nana's Organics question. It says,
What's our
compulsory to
question?
put a face to a brand? Do clients
No, it's
prefer
not.
to associate with a more expensive brand? Does selling cheap mar a business standard? And I can see there's a question by Fogo Taylor.
Nana Organics, there are 3 questions. Is it important to put a face to a brand? No, it's not, because I don't know who owns Miss K Boutique till tomorrow. And Grey Velvet, because I know her personally, I know who that is. Maju, a lot of people do not know who Maju is. And she's one of the most successful retail brands. I mean, David Wej, Dayo Ewaja, is very few people that know him. Do you understand? So it's not important to put a face to a brand. Then what's the second thing you said?
Do clients prefer to associate with a more expensive brand?
Brand, I think clients are ready to associate with a brand that delivers what you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's not expensive, it's not cheap. Some people still prefer their tailor in a balance detail tomorrow because the guy gives them what they want all the time. So they won't even come to you. Do you understand? So as long as you deliver on the promise, they are fine.
Then does selling cheap mar a business standard?
No, it doesn't. Primark. So it doesn't lie business standard. Primark is cheap and everybody still goes there to buy one thing or the other from there. So I don't think it lies on business standard. As long as if you are cheap doesn't mean that when your shop should be dirty and there should be roaches flying around. Do you understand? So if it's cheap and affordable, you still have a certain standard that you deliver at the end of that. Okay.
I have a question.
Taylor.
Someone just asked me a question. How did you arrive at the decision to be an educator over being a fashion designer? First things first, who is a fashion designer? I'm a fashion designer, but it doesn't mean I am a fashion designer. I have a degree in fashion design, so it's not as if I'm not a fashion designer. But I think being an educator, I love sharing knowledge. And for me, it actually went into educating people because I was frustrated. People didn't understand what I was saying. Because most times if I say, go and overlock, they will say, oh, you mean whipping? I'm like, no, I mean overlocking.
Can you go and get fusible? Fusible is air
Yeah, and the reason I started training was because number one, I don't like sewing for people. I don't even sew for myself. I don't like sewing, and most times I needed to know that if I make a referral, I'm making a referral to someone who I can trust. And the only way I can trust, and so that's why I decided to train people so that at least I don't do bespoke. And when I kept rejecting bespoke orders, people felt I was being arrogant. So I said, look, you know what? Let me train people, then I can refer them to you. And then the frustration of talking. So there were a lot of decisions over. I went into fashion education for frustration. That's the truth. And all. But anyway, like I said, it's not about me. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. Would you advise using a standard chart or creating your own size chart? It's really up to you. Mai, what do you think about that? She says, I don't know how to pronounce the same thing. Would you advise using a standard size chart for ready to wear or creating your own size charts?
Whichever one works for you. But most important is that when it comes to the sizing, you always have a table for sizes. When they click on it, they see what inches or cm makes your own size. So they make that decision. So I think anyone that does ready to wear, there's always sizing somewhere. When you click on it, you see the table. Size 8, the bust is this, the waist is this, the hip is this. So if yours is different, you put it on your website and say, this is how I make my sizing. Then you make it your way. A lot of international brands, trust me, like me, one of the things I buy a lot is shoes. I go to the same person to buy shoe 3 times, and my same size doesn't fit me 3 times, and it's international. So you see, sometimes they also get it wrong. But we Nigerians, if your Zara top button pops, you will fix it by yourself. But if your Mai Atafo button pops, you will call me from Kokokuma, carry my nonsense.
Very true.
That's the way we are. But yeah,
can I also answer that from a production perspective? Since I run a production unit, and designers ask me this question. First things first, for producing for a very long time, standard sizes abroad do not work for Nigerian bodies. That I can tell you. Because we have very irregular shapes. So what I advise people, and that's what I usually advise people on, use yourself as a standard. If you are a standard size, use yourself. So most times when designers come and they say they want to produce this or they want to produce that, I measure them and create. Of course, I'm not going to create a bespoke, like I'm going to start a blog from scratch for them. I use my standard size, but then I adjust it to their measurement, because ideally you want to wear your clothes. If you want to wear your clothes, it should fit you. And then when we have that, then we grade up and down. And then you can decide whatever your small is, whatever your medium is, whatever your, like, it's up to you. You don't have to look at the UK and say, oh, because Zara size 8 is this. You can decide whatever your size. If I go into Mr. Price, I'm probably like maybe a size 5. If I probably go somewhere else, I'm probably a size 6. I know I'm a size 6.
Yeah.
But when I used to go to Mr. Price, I always used to buy a size 5. You know, so it's really up to you what you, it is your business.
I think it starts with you. You're very correct. You're very correct, because I'm doing patterns for my suits for ready to wear, and I use myself as a perfect fit, perfect everything. And once we got that right, we got it up and down. I decided to call my size a 42. Do you understand? And we now got it up and down. So going forward, I can look at the person and go like, oh, you wear 44, because I know my own, I'm judging from me.
Yeah.
So I can take you up or down just looking at you, and I can advise correctly. So you are very, very spot on.
Okay. Is there any other question?
Yeah, I think those questions I do not like, but it's okay. How do I source fabric?
I think I'm just scrolling through.
I'm seeing the comments. How do I source fabric? Source fabric in Yaba Market and Balogun. And if you don't get it, there are a lot of people that sell fabric online.
What's your opinion on Nigerian fabric compared to buying fabric from abroad? I don't know what Nigerian fabric is. The only thing that's made in Nigeria is probably Ashoke and Adire. Everything comes from abroad.
Everybody comes from abroad. So those of you that know me, I'm very sure you see me in Yaba Market or Balogun Market buying things, and those things come from abroad. There's no abroad market and Nigerian market. Yeah.
What was the trigger that convinced you to pivot into women's suits, and how do you deal with alterations for women? Oh,
very good. Pivot to women's suits. I think my first women's suits collection was in 2012, to be honest, but I didn't push it. Then recently I did the ones with the colors, and I pushed it, and it seems people loved a lot, and they ordered quite a lot of those. And it was simple. I thought the trend had changed, whereby women didn't wear women's suits anymore; they wore men's suits.
Anyway, when I started, they watch your linen in public. I saw you once at Ted Joshua. Exactly. I import my things. She will say, "I saw you at Ted Joshua. Who are you lying to?"
No, I thought that. I said, if anybody knows me, they see me Ted Joshua Yaba Market. That's what I said. You will see me. If you go to those markets, you will see me there. So that's what I'm trying to make people realize, that it's not, my things are not imported from somewhere to make, because it's the same fabric at the end of the day. I won't go and buy satin in China or anywhere when I can see the satin to buy in Lagos. Yeah,
sorry,
so for the women's suits.
What were you saying before? What was the question?
Yeah, for the women's suits, and I had the preventive women's suits. When my women's wear will not. So I think a lot of women are open to the idea that they could wear men's suits. Some of them without even knowing that it was men's suits, but they just like the ones that had, like, it looked like it was broader on the shoulder, and they could adjust the body a little bit too. So we could take in the body a little bit, but it was literally men's suits. So I just started pushing suits. It was another way to expand my market, because you see, women don't have to wear suits for a wedding. They don't have to wear suits for a formal function. They can wear suits to go and see their girlfriend or even go on the lunch date. But a man doesn't wear suit for that. A man wears a suit for functional purposes. So it was another way to open my market and expand my market, which is what I did with that.
Okay, awesome. I think I've gone through other questions.
How do I retail my ready-to-wear outfits in Nigeria? So I take it that this person is not in Nigeria for you to ask how you retail your ready-to-wear outfits in Nigeria. So you can retail it online, so create your website and advertise online with focus on Nigeria. You can actually take your clothes to any of the concession stores and have it stocked there. There's Grey Velvet, there's 41 Ox, there is Temple Mills, depending on what you want to do. It's a great way to push it from there if you have to do any of those. Okay, these are the ways I feel that you can actually, or you can come and set up your own physical shop in Nigeria. That's an option too.
Okay, I think we are done.
Papa said Mai for president. Motopeda. Thank you very much. If you be my vice, talk about run for president. Please, regarding fabrics, what is your opinion? Okay, I think I've answered the one about the abroad fabric and the local fabric. I'm a lady fashion designer, but I love male outfits. What do you think is?
Do you think it's an advantage?
Oh no, I think it's an amazing advantage. I prefer, in my menswear department, I prefer hiring women that know menswear than men that know menswear. And somebody was in this chat just now. Her name is Fuego Taylor, Stephanie Wombodo. She worked for me for a long time in my menswear department, doing measurements, fitting, doing the patterns for the suits for every single suit. So I actually do prefer women doing with menswear than men do with menswear. Men intimidate men, but men don't intimidate women. They kind of respect women. Yeah.
Shades of Ike asked this, and I think it's quite interesting because there are a lot of mindsets in the industry. It says, Uncle Mai, must a designer know how to illustrate? I sketch sparingly, only when it's very necessary before sewing, and have heard people call me unserious. Is this illustration compulsory?
If you are illustrating as part of your steps for consultation and engaging your customers, then people would expect to see a nice sketch rather than a dodgy sketch. Because your customer is looking at you, that's the first step to say you can make the garment and your sketch doesn't look like what you are discussing, then that doesn't look good. Now, to learn to illustrate, you can actually learn that in a couple of days. All right? And figure drawing, another thing, go online, type in figure drawing, go to images. You will see an outline of a sketch. So you can print that out and just do your dress on top of that figure. So it's easy. So you don't have to like learn this thing from scratch. So it's easy for you to do that.
Yeah, like
Grandeur tailors.
That stuff.
Yes. So yeah, so I think it'd be nice for you if it's part of the steps. If it's something you can say, oh, I'll send you an illustration of what we're doing after the consultation, then get an illustrator to do a proper one and send to them. You just have to pay money for that, and that works. Then Grandeur tailors that lied that I was getting me a phone. You cannot afford the phone. He said, when making my suit, when making your suit, do you make patterns before cutting, or you cut directly on the cloth? And why? Okay, Grandeur tailors. I make a pattern before I cut. Why do I make a pattern before I cut? Because that is the way it is supposed to be done. And again, let me actually answer this question right. So tomorrow, when another customer comes and his measurement is similar to the one you made the pattern for before, you can use the pattern to make that guy's suit. Even if it's not the same, they are similar. You can actually add your 1 or 2 inches here and there from the pattern you already have. Now, instead of going to start calculating what gives you shoulder slope and calculate what gives you front half body and front every single time you have to make a suit. If you have a pattern, all you have to do is draw it, and you can do your little alterations at that point. So first of all, it gives us consistency in what you do. I think it makes your life a lot easier. And that means, Mr. Grandeur tailors, it means you do not know how to do patterns. That's why you don't know what the benefits of patterns are. So you should go and learn to do patterns to make your suit. Because if your suit tailor decides to run away from you tomorrow now, you are in trouble.
Awesome. So to wrap this up, final words. What do you have to say?
Yes. I'm not a dressmaker or a shoemaker, but I learned a lot. Oh, Shane Lagos, fantastic. I'm glad that you learned a lot, even though shoemaker. So guys, thank you very much. It's been quite interesting. I didn't actually think that this is what was going to happen today when
I know, right?
we decided to do this. I thought we will be done in the first 30 minutes. I will say, everybody, thank you very much. We'll go to bed. Somebody said they teach how to make patterns there. So come and learn from the person who says they teach how to make patterns there. You know.
Why can I advertise
Martwayne?
Because it's like a lot
of why not?
You have online.
Please, wait, hold on. No, hold on. Talk my face. Let me do my end speech, then I'll give you the floor. So thank you for coming, and I hope you learned something, okay? And I hope you guys learned something. And again, I will try to be a bit more visible when it comes to things like this, so people can learn a lot more from me. Then, so thank you for at least staying on till this late to do this. Then, secondly, Tokma, thank you very, very much for doing this and handling the Atafo page and welcoming me to do this interview. There's a reason why I picked Tokma to do this. Many times when I talk, when we want to have a 5 minutes conversation, it is 30 minutes. Every time we want to have a conversation. Because we will go into depth of why this is done and that is done and why this is not working and this is not working and stuff. Just because over the years she's acquired a lot of knowledge, right? And she is very, very on point when it comes to fashion in every ramification. When it comes to actual, garment construction, or even understanding things as pedestrian as customer behavior. That every time when you see Tokma's post or you see the Martwayne post about what I ordered and what I got, it's always amazing because you break things down properly. So some of you may not know her, so I will urge you to go and follow her page, Martwayne. And it's a fashion house, and they do a lot of things from production to teaching. They have online courses. They have a lot of things. And this woman is one of the few people that actually went to go and learn the thing. And she comes from KPMG background, so you can imagine from KPMG to fashion designer. So she's very, very rounded. So I think you should all check out that one. So, Tapa, if you want to say anything from this point, please tell them. Sell your market.
You've said it all now. You said it all. You said it all. I run a fashion school. I have an online school. Interestingly enough, throughout this whole COVID period, I really, didn't really want to do all these live sessions because I thought a lot of people were doing it. But it appears that it appears people actually learn from. I mean, I used to do Instagram live sessions, but I'm the kind of person that I just do it and then I get a bit, I just get sidetracked a lot because I'm doing a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if people have questions. This was an amazing thing you did, having people ask questions ahead of time so that we can actually answer. So we do have online courses, fashion illustration. I'm more about the business of fashion anyway. But please, somebody help me type it. T-shirt, Martwayne now. Please put my handle there. So basically, that's what we do. And the reason being, we didn't go into online learning. We actually offer a blended learning, system whereby we do some classwork and then we have some online courses as well, which we add to the classwork to make life easier for us. But then the more we thought about it, the more I thought, why not just have online? I've been doing online since my first online course was on Facebook like 3 years ago. Or something like that, and it was on the business of fashion. So just follow at Martwayne. You see everything. Me, I'm always ranting. I rant on Instagram. I rant on Facebook. I rant. Everybody knows me for rant. Even this face mask thing, I was ranting about it. I've post people on social media because I believe in the face mask thing. As a preventive measure over standard. So please follow us. If you have questions, my numbers are actually also on the handle.
Literally, on the post of this conversation, our handle is there as a tag and also in the comment section. So just go there and click on Martwayne and link up. And again, guys, on the lighter notes, I know that this session was not about post-COVID, which is the most important topic that we see every day, post-COVID, pre-COVID conversations. All right, I'd like to do this just to talk about fashion in general, not necessarily about COVID or what's going on. But I do believe that what we are going through right now is literally like a reset for life and for people to think. And I think we should take it seriously. I think we should social distance. Just me, your best friend that you have not seen in the last 3 days, please do not shake them. Okay, even your sister you have not seen in the last 3 days, please do not hug them. Okay, I think it's very, very important that we all stay safe. I think it's important that we wash our hands. I think it's important that we sanitize. I think it's important that we stay as healthy as possible so we can come out at the end alive. I'm really scared of what's going on because when you look at countries that you say they are more civilized than us and more technologically advanced than us, they're the ones that are dying in droves. Do you understand? And you're thinking, how do we survive this? Okay, and this is not a Nigerian problem, it's a global problem. It's happening to everybody. The only country that has gone back to working the way they were working is China. Every other country that it has hit afterwards is still not recovered. They are still trying to deal with the issue. Okay, that's to show you how big and this thing. So if you can make that change, please do it by trying to be healthy and social distance. I think that this is important. I don't think that we will beat this by some of us, taking the chance to be naughty here and there and do whatever we want to do. So please, I want to see everybody after, I call it the war. I want to see everybody after the COVID war. So let's stay healthy. Let's do everything that we have to do. Let's sanitize. Let's wash our hands. Let's social distance. Let's wear our face mask. When they even say we should come out, let's wear our face masks every day. Maybe a very uncomfortable, but let's wear that thing. Let's put your hand sanitizer in your pocket. Take your disinfectant when you're going to. Please, 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 please try as much as possible, because see, at the end of the day, we're in this country. Your country is not going to do anything for you. You have to do it yourself, not Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if anybody is looking for a cure to this thing in Nigeria. I've not heard them saying we are researching a cure. We're not hearing any Nigerians saying we're researching a vaccine.
No,
our native doctors, native doctors have not done anything. Our herbalists have not done anything. Just to tell you, our approach to it is we are waiting for other people to fix this for us, like we wait for them to fix everything for us. So we have to just do what we can do and stay safe. So guys, please, I beg of you.
Also, please follow me on YouTube as well. I'm putting out YouTube videos. Martwayne.com. Anyway, so
maybe I'll start my own YouTube channel very soon.
As in, I just abandoned it at some point. Please, youtube.com, youtube/martwayne.com, DOTCOM, so that you can inspire me. Please follow me, inspire me to continue posting. I have a question. Somebody said save this video. When I stopped the last one, I ended it, but I didn't see any option to save. I only had the option of posting to the handle. So I do not know. I sent it to you though. So I posted it live. I now don't know what's going to happen from there. So if I end this now, do I need to do something else to save? I thought by using an iPhone, I should be able to save. That's why I didn't use my Android. Or I can't. I don't know now.
Look around. If there's no way you can save, just do what you did before. Maybe I should be able to save it from stories. So I'll check that out.
I should save them. Okay, awesome. I'll do that.
I feel that after you put it on stories, you should be able to go to stories to save it. That's what I believe. I do not know. But if you lose this one, we will learn.
Okay, I know I couldn't save it from Android, so that's why I used an iPhone. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm inspired. Now maybe I'll go to do another Instagram live. I'm inspired.
I will try to do this again some other time just to get people, a bit more connected to what is.
Yeah, actually, some people would. I didn't even think people would still be interested in, following their fashion dream. I thought maybe they'll be more interested in what is maybe working from home or learning from home or something. This has actually given me a lot of, because you actually don't also want to sound insensitive. That people are worried about what's going to happen, and then you're talking about starting a fashion business and stuff. So I kind of put a lot of things on hold. The whole line. There are so many books and courses, but I thought, is this the right time to talk about it? Is it, But now that I do want to know it, I'm going to do it.
I think this is the best time to leave. I think this is the best time. I'm not one of those that say, you must come out of this with something. If you want to come out of this with good sleep, I haven't rested. That is great. Yeah, we're going through a tough time. But if you feel like you want to do something while you're doing it, no pressure, just do it. All right? The way it hit us, I was not prepared for it. It means that we can also prepare for it, hoping that it will go really, really soon. You don't want to be caught unawares, so just prep yourself for what's going to happen.
Okay, so before Instagram stopped us, it's almost 10:15. Mai, as always, very charming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed myself, to be honest. I enjoyed myself. Guys, thank you very much for all the questions and staying up to this time. All right, then.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.